All right. Wow. I'm nervous. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Hey cousin, welcome to the Hey Cousin podcast with your favorite cousin, Naïkey Lenescat. And yes, that is me. And yes, the T is still silent. All right. So there's been a major shift. There's been a lot of things that have changed. Yes. The last time that I was on a mic or using my voice on this platform, my podcast, which is now completely changed, was I think it was a year ago or maybe almost 2 years ago. And I had pre-recorded a lot of things, so it probably doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it has been that long. And there's been some episodes that I pre-recorded that I just never released. And the reason for that was because I truly felt like God was trying to shift this platform and use my voice in a greater capacity. So for those who don't know me, I'm Naïkey Lenescat. I am a Boston-based creative. I am a designer. I'm a brand strategist, creative strategist, podcaster, host. I'm just your creative cousin, and I just do a lot of creative stuff. And I believe that my calling is to create. That's it. That's it. I've been called to create. And whatever that means to me in the season that I'm in, whatever that means to you. And I believe my voice is for those who also feel called to create or called to something, but are wrestling with it or don't have enough faith to answer the call. Hold up. Let me get my phone. I got a phone for a time just like for this episode. Give me 1 second. Let me get my phone. Hold up. I hear a ring. Do you hear that ring? Let me go get my phone. Let me answer the call. 1 sec. All right, boom. We're back. And right next to me, I have this red phone. I bought this phone a couple years ago because I just wanted some sort of symbolism to represent like a call that needs to be answered. And let me slow down. Child, let me catch my breath, because I just went to the room. I need to answer the call to the gym. All right, so I got this phone a couple years ago because I wanted a physical representation for moments like this where I'm very nervous, I'm scared, and I feel like God is calling me to something that I'm not answering or need to answer. So I got the phone. I always kept it by my work desk. But, I still didn't answer the call, child. So I'll tell you what brought me to this today. But before I get to that, I want to talk about my previous platform. So my previous platform, which was called Naïkey Lenescat, which in Haitian Creole, I'm Haitian. In Haitian Creole, it stands for school, church, home. And this podcast was, this podcast had to do with many different kinds of conversations surrounding those three places and how that shaped your identity. And if you're Haitian, you already know it's like an inside joke that we as Haitian, like young people say, like the only places we're allowed to go is home, school, church, Naïkey Lenescat. And so a lot of your community members are either from church, from, school, or your family members and your cousins. And that's why I also called my listeners cousins, because that's just kind of my reality. That's how I grew up. I grew up around my cousins. They're my friends, they're my community. And so anytime people get close to me, I just refer to them as like my cousin or whatever. And I know that's very like relatable to most people because that's just, kind of the verbiage we use. But I also found that this conversation and this topic also resonated with a lot of different people who are from the Caribbean in general, people who are from Africa who had a Ghanaian background, Nigerian backgrounds, even some Hispanic people. I had a lot of Hispanic listeners. I had listeners that were men. I had listeners that were women. So I had a lot of different people that related to the conversations and the topics, but they were not getting the fullness of what I wanted to give, because I made my audience just Haitian people. Although I saw other people could relate, I made my audience Haitian people. And I believe that there was a time for me to do that, but I believe there was also a season where that ended. But I continued going in that direction, feeling and knowing in my spirit that my voice, God wanted to use my voice for more. And so hence I stopped the entire podcast, really out of fear, out of anxiety, out of not understanding or knowing my next. I didn't want to put anything that was whack out. I didn't want to put anything that didn't feel authentic out. I didn't want to start talking about God and being preachy when I'm still trying to figure out where I even stand in my walk of faith. And so I kind of wrestled with a lot of those thoughts, which ultimately just made me stop, and I just didn't do anything. I didn't even want to post as well on Instagram. I did post a lot on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. Love TikTok. But yeah, I just started to feel very self-cautious or self-conscious. I don't know, whichever the one. English is not my first language. It's my second language, so please forgive me. Yeah, but I just started getting in my head about what God really wanted me to do, what I needed to do, et cetera, entering a place of condemnation, blaming myself, just feeling all over the place. And as a result, I really ended up failing in a lot of other areas that I knew God called me to, and losing focus and just all over the place. And I just wanted to quit. Not my life, but I just wanted to quit everything and just live a regular life, like a 9-to-5 in a cubicle, and just real regular. I wanted no one to know me. I wanted to be unknown. I wanted to be out of the limelight. My gap in my tooth was getting larger. I was gaining more weight. I was getting more self-conscious, insecure. But ultimately, I knew that these things were distractions and things that the enemy was putting before me, so that I could just focus on that and be in a cycle of just focusing on things that really didn't matter, things that were very vain for years and years and years. And I'm here today at my big age, and I'm like, girl, get up. Who cares? Just do it. So what happened today? Today is January 24th, Friday. What happened today is I was in bed, kind of dragging my feet to start the day, and I kept hearing, your promise is calling. Your purpose is calling. Your purpose is calling. Your purpose is calling. Your purpose is calling. I kept hearing that to the point that I responded out of my mouth, and I said, my purpose is calling. I need to answer. As I'm in my bed. Not even 5 seconds later, my best friend calls me, and she's at lunch with somebody from our ministry, and she says, hey, I don't do this. This is not like me, but I really felt like God was telling me to call you to talk to Paige, which is the young lady that she was having lunch with, because Paige is a sound engineer and she could help you with your podcast. You need to get it up and going. So we talked and we hung up, and I said, all right, I see what's going on here. I've been caught red-handed, not doing what God told me to do. It's almost the end of the first month of the new year, and I'm still entertaining the things I said I would not entertain. Meanwhile, the phone is ringing, honey. Purpose is calling. And here I am now. I got up. I put some concealer on so I look decent for you guys and you guys don't turn this video off. And I'm here right now. I say this all to say this, if that made any sense. I say that to say this. It's time for you to answer the call. We could buy props to symbolize whatever we need to do. We can plan things out. We could put it in our notes app, write it down. We could buy journals. We could buy planners. We can follow people that we want to learn from. We could watch podcasts. We could watch tutorials all day. You could listen to sermons all day. You can go to church multiple times a week, as I have been doing, and still not do what God has called you to do. Honestly, even if those things did help you, the result needs to be that you've taken action to what you know God has told you to do. And so this podcast is something I started in 2018. And since 2018 to now, 2025, I've completely dragged my feet. I've done it pissed off. I've done it insecure. I've done it scared. I've done it unsure. I've done it knowing that I was going to quit. I've done it knowing that I was never going to post. I've done it with no type of self-awareness. And I've done it being pissed at God for even telling me to do it. So finally today, I made the decision that I will answer the call, not on some fake stuff. I will answer the call with all of me, all of my heart, all of my effort, and fully ready and prepared to take action. And one of the things that I thought about was obedience, right? The topic of obedience. And the Bible says that obedience is better than sacrifice. And I'll pull up the verse so y'all know I'm not lying, right? Because it definitely says that in the Bible. Give me 1 second, girl. When was the last time I opened my Bible app? Let's see. It's been a minute. Bear with me. So this is found in 1 Samuel 15, verse 22. And it says, "But Samuel replied, 'What is more pleasing to the Lord, your burnt offerings and sacrifices, or your obedience to his voice?'" Listen, obedience is better than sacrifice, and submission is better than offering the fat of rams, child. For context, back in this time, they would, kill animals, they would offer things up to God, like kill animals, burn things, whatever the case. I'm not here to really teach you about the Bible. Y'all could see Apostle Jerry Mickle for that. They would do these things to offer up, sacrifices and stuff to God. But they were not being obedient to what God told them to do. So really, what is a sacrifice? What is I did it scared. I did it pissed. I bought a phone. I did it this. When you're not doing what God told you to do, you're still not living in a place of obedience. And yes, dragging your feet is not obedience. Dragging your feet is not obedience. Why? Because time nullifies what God told you to do. This is just my opinion. The Bible scholars don't come for me. This is just my opinion. Let's talk in the comments below. Time nullifies what God told you to do. The longer you wait to do what God told you to do now, the easier it will get more easy. It will get easier. Excuse me. It will get easier to not do it. It'll get easier to say, God didn't really say that. It'll get easier to say, that was me. That was my own voice. It wasn't really God. Let me repeat that. The longer you wait to do what God told you to do now, the easier it will be to say God didn't tell you to do it. The easier it will be, and I don't even know if this is good English, to be honest, but it'll be easier. Pause. Just listen to me. It will be easier for you to start making excuses and start putting other words in God's mouth that he didn't say. because you allowed time to nullify the voice of God. You allowed time to quiet the voice of the Holy Spirit. You allowed time to give you space to make more excuses. This is why obedience is better than sacrifice. Because in the time of waiting, in the time of being disobedient, you can make all the sacrifices that you want. And those sacrifices will tell you you're doing it. You done did it. You sacrificed this. You gave up that. You did this. You served here. You broke up with this person for God. You did this. This is just a bunch of sacrifices. And it falls into the category of works. Because now you're doing all this work. You're doing all these things. You're fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. But you still didn't do what God told you to do. You still didn't answer the call, babe. All right, now. A little cheap phone from Amazon. You still didn't answer the call, my love. And because you've taken so long, because you continue to take the time to think about it, to ponder, this call is going to start feeling like a weight. It's going to start feeling like a burden. It's going to start pissing you off because now you're getting annoyed with it. It's going to start feeling like a fly, like, ugh. And take it from me, girl. Or boy, whoever's listening. Take it from me. The longer you wait to do what you know, and I'm talking about God done send you every prophet in the world to come tell you this. God sent you a bunch of night visions. God wrote it on a van for you. God put it in the sky. All the things you said. God, send me a sign if I know it's you. God, I'm going to do it if I... God sent you all the signs. He even put it on signage outside. He put it on a billboard. He put it in a commercial for you. He let your friend... He used your friend to tell you. He used your coworker to tell you. And you still didn't do it. Why? Because you allowed time to nullify the urgency in which God told you to do it. You allowed time to nullify God. But there's no condemnation. But you've come to the right place. You've come and you've sat down and you're talking to your cousin. And I'm here to help those who know that they're called to something, that there is a call, or maybe you don't even know what that call is. Maybe you'll find out. I'm also here to talk to those who are specifically called to create. You know you're a creative. You know you're supposed to be creating something. You know you're supposed to be building a platform. You know you're supposed to be building a network. You know you're supposed to be connected to certain people. You know you're supposed to be a certain place. I'm talking to you as well. I'm also talking to those who are on a faith walk. You're dragging your feet. It's a faith walk. You gotta walk. I'm talking to those who are, just discovering who God is again. Maybe you've lived in a place of condemnation for a long time. Maybe you've been blaming yourself for a long time. Maybe you've low-key hated God. Ooh, it's very real to hate God. But you're hating the wrong thing. You have a false image of who God is. And I'm also talking to those who can relate to none of the things that I just said. Because there's going to be a day, there's going to be a time, because Jesus is coming back, where you're going to feel a pull. And that pull is going to have you drop to your knees, because it's going to be God himself calling you. ASMR, you still got to answer the call. All right? So, This podcast, Hey Cousin, because you don't picked up the call. I said, Hey Cousin. You get it? You get it? Hey Cousin. It's just your friendly creative cousin here, chatting it up. We will talk about, current events. We will talk about my personal life because I love telling stories. I am a yappa girl. I love to yap. I love to share my story. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to some of the things that I've thought about, gone through, seen. And yeah, we're just going to have fun on this podcast, but we got to get to this. We got to get to this. We got to get to the bag. We got to get to the money. No funny. I'm actually wearing a sweater that says Year of Miracles. Year of Miracles. Yes. And this hoodie designed by me, I'll show you the back. The back is dope. This is the hoodie, and this is actually the declaration at my church. So every year we have a declaration. Our man of God, Apostle Jerry Mickle, he, puts out a declaration every year for our church. And that's like basically the code by which we live in the year as a ministry. A lot of churches do this. If you don't go to church, I'm just letting you know, this is like a lot of churches do this, where for the new year, they have like a word or they have a statement that defines what the year is going to be. And so you kind of just like use it. It's a prophetic word. You use that word to walk out the year. And so our word was the year of miracles. This is the year of miracles. 2025 is the year of miracles. And I found it fitting to wear this sweater, this hoodie, because not only is it my favorite hoodie, it preaches to me every time I see it and put it on. This is your year of miracles. You could adopt our prophetic word. It's yours too. This is your year of miracles. 2024 was not easy. 2023 probably wasn't easy. Maybe 2022 was the best year of your life. I don't know. But 2025 is going to be your year of miracles. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to stop you this year. Nothing is going to block you. Nothing is going to nullify the voice of God in this year. We're going to do what God told us to do, and we're going to do it now. We're going to answer the call, and we're going to answer it now. In the year of miracles, I want you to remove God from the box in which you've put him in. Whether you believe in God, maybe you don't believe in God, whatever. You've put him in a box. And if you've put him in that box, I want you to open up that box and remove him. Because God is greater than any form of measurement. A box is a measurement. A box is constraint. And I know as Americans say this a lot. They say, think outside the box. You got to think outside the box. Outside the box thinking. Let's remove the box. There is no box. How about that? Not only are we thinking outside the box, there is no box, because we are not going to measure what God is doing in our lives. And we're also not going to measure what we're capable of. You're capable of greater. Greater is he. Child, let me pull up that Bible verse. Nah, because I would have saved, right? Hold on. Let me get the Bible. BibleGateway.com. Don't come for me. Yes, I have to Google these verses. I'm still learning. Okay. NKJV. We don't do that here. Let me see the NLT. 1 John 4, verse 4. But you belong to God, my dear children. You have already won a victory over those people, because the spirit who lives in you is greater than the spirit who lives in the world. I don't know if that was the verse, but that verse was dope. So listen, we're removing God out. We're removing the box. There is no box. A box is a measurement. Why would you measure your call? How many inches is your call? How many centimeters is your call? Is it a 4x4 call? Is it a 11 by 8.5 call? No. There's no measurement. There's no box. God cannot be measured. Okay? So, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to end this podcast. Purpose is calling. I got to answer. Hello. Phone is still ringing. Hello. Gotta go. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And I hope you guys got something from it. I didn't really mean to go in like that. I just simply wanted to get on the mic and just tell you, hey, I got a new podcast. But hey, I'm a vessel. Follow me on Instagram, on TikTok at Your Creative Cousin. I'm on YouTube at It's Your Creative Cousin. And I am on Facebook as Naïkey Lenescat. Don't follow me on Facebook. That's for family. I'm on Threads at Your Creative Cousin. So I'm everywhere. And I am here on this podcast. Hey, cousin. Podcast. Hey, cousin. Look me up. All right, you guys. God bless you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching if you're watching on YouTube. And yeah, subscribe. And I'll see y'all later. Deuces. Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh.